Yo, it's your boy WesTheTech here to bring you another one of my personal favorite tech tips to help you as an artist growing your craft. Now, today we're going to go over the hard truth about Spotify promotion companies. All right. So if you're a recording artist who's looking into using a Spotify promotion company to increase your engagement on Spotify or to get more streams on Spotify, then this is the perfect video for you, because in this video, I'm going to explain all the hard truths about dealing with one of these companies. All right. Now, before we continue, I definitely want to let you guys know about my free music business checklist tool that's available to download off of my website right now. This is for anyone of you guys who's looking into starting your own music business but don't quite know where to start. With this free tool, you'll actually be able to identify 3 things that you could do right away to start your own music business. So if you want to grab this free tool today, you could click on the link above. I will also leave the link in the descriptions below. All right. Now, before I really dive into these hard truths about Spotify promotion companies, I first want to pre-qualify myself. For the last couple of years, I have actually tried out a number of different Spotify promotion companies. All of the top names ones I have actually tried out for myself. If you were just to Google Spotify promotion campaigns, all the top 10, top 20 different companies out there that will do Spotify promotion campaigns for you, I have actually investigated and tried out myself. Now, the interesting part about this is when I initially started to do this research and do these testings, I was initially just trying to figure out which Spotify promotion campaign was the best for independent artists. Because as you guys know, every video on my channel, every information that I give you, I'm always coming from a position of experience. I never want to tell you guys something that I haven't personally tried myself. So in efforts of trying to find the right Spotify promotion campaign for you guys or company for you guys, I decided to try all of them, or all the big ones, so to speak. And within trying all of them, instead of finding the best company, I've come to a realization that none of them are actually good. And that is the hard truth that I'm going to break down with you guys today. All right. So I'm going to go over the main key points and the main key factors as to why I've come to this realization and why I feel like Spotify promotion companies are just not a good way to actually market your music. All right. Now, first and foremost, if we're going to go to probably the most important thing, is I feel like I have to explain what these companies are claiming that they can do for you. All right. So what these companies typically will let you know or tell you is that they will actually be pitching your music to Spotify curators. Now, if you don't know what Spotify curators are, the simplest way of saying it is Spotify playlist owners. People who actually own playlists that have a lot of traction or a lot of listeners on it. Anybody could create a Spotify playlist, right? But some playlists out there get so much attention, get so much traction, that there are playlists out there with thousands of monthly listeners, hundreds of monthly listeners, and they're just created by some random people who just decided to create a playlist. Some of these playlists are even bigger than Spotify's official playlist, right? Because again, it's just all depends on how they curated the playlist, how much people are actually listening to the playlist, and how much people actually like that particular genre, right? So when you look at it from a company standpoint that's pitching your music to the curator, there's a lot of things that really come to light with this whole process, which simply puts it that these Spotify promotion companies are just middlemen. Ultimately, they do not dictate whether your music end up on the playlist or not. They do not dictate how much streams you could actually get from these playlists or how long your song will be on that playlist. Somebody could pitch me a song to go on my playlist, and it all depends on how much I like or dislike the song as far as not only it getting on the playlist, but how long it will actually be on the playlist versus other songs that I've had on my playlist for a long time, right? So that's the first thing that you guys need to understand, is that is what the major selling point is, and that is what they are actually claiming to do for you. All of these truths that I'm about to go over is just in a response or a continuation of that hard truth. All right. So the first hard truth that I really want to go over with you guys is simply the legitimacy of these companies. All right. And when it comes to actually, are these real companies? Because I know that's a question a lot of people ask. Is it a real company? Yes, these companies are real companies in the sense of them actually having a registered company under the government, right? So they have official LLCs. They are owned and operated by an entity. They do have an owner. They do have employees, so on and so forth. They are in fact real companies. But I do like to mention that none of these companies, not even the biggest ones, are accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Now, this is obviously important because we all know that the BBB, or the Better Business Bureau, gives credits or accredits real companies or companies that have that has notoriety, that are trusted, and all of those things. So the fact that none of these companies have ever been registered or are with the Better Business Bureau already lets you know that you're not dealing with fully established, trustworthy companies, right? That should be a red flag alone to start with, but it gets way deeper than that, all right? So continuing on from the legitimacy, the next hard truth is that none of these companies can actually guarantee you streams. Now, the funny part about this is that most of these companies tell you right up front that they cannot guarantee you any streams, right? But the ironic part about it is that even though they cannot guarantee you a specific number of streams, they're always going to promote or show you a range of streams that you will get if you use their service, right? So it's kind of like a contradiction. I can't guarantee you any streams, but I can give you a range of what streams you may get, right? That automatically tells you that something isn't ultimately right. Because again, if the basis of this company is to pitch your music to a curator, the curator ultimately dictates how many streams your song will get, right? They're the ones who will dictate how long your song will be on the playlist or not. They're the ones who will place it either as the third song, which will get way more streams than the 183rd song, right? So it's all up to the curator and not really up to the company. So how is the company giving you a range of streams that you will get by using their service? Sure, they're not guaranteeing you a specific number, but they are presenting numbers to you to get you to actually buy into their service, right? And you're gonna see this with pretty much every single Spotify promotion company, and they usually have them in tiers, like the bronze tier, or the first tier is 3,000 to 5,000 streams, then 5,000 to 10,000 streams, then 10,000 to 20,000 streams for the bigger package. They're always going to show you these numbers of streams that you could possibly get by using their service with how they pitch your music, right? So that's already a falsehood. That's already not true. They cannot guarantee you in a legitimate way these streams, and a big emphasis on legitimate. And the reason I say that is because the next hard truth that I'm going to go over with you guys is that fake and botted streams are real, okay? They are real. There are real programs, real systems, real things out there to actually create fake streams, right? Now, most of them are botted, right? And what that means is they literally have some type of system on a computer out there that's just generating streams for your music. They're just replaying your music over and over and over and over so that you get the streams and you get the plays, right? This is a real thing that happens, and most of these companies are doing this. Not all of them, because some of them will actually get you real streams, but for the most part, most of them are getting you fake and botted streams. Now, if you're already dealing with one of these companies and you want to know if the streams that you're getting are actually legitimate or if they're fake, then I definitely want you to click on this link above, because this link will bring you to this company, this website, where you could actually search your artist profile for free. And it'll let you know how many playlists that you're on that has fake streams, how many fake streams you're actually getting, and it'll let you know what are bot free playlists that you may be on. I'll also leave that link in the descriptions below as well, right? That's just so you could check for your botted streams and see what streams are botted. And you'll probably be surprised that most of the companies, that if you're dealing with one of these companies, that most of the stuff they're giving you are botted streams. So that's a hard pill to swallow, especially because these companies are everywhere. They're always promoting. I'm sure you see ads from them all the time, whether it's on, IG, Facebook, YouTube. I'm sure you see ads from these Spotify promotion companies all the time, but I'm here to tell you that they're not worth it. All right. It's just a simple truth. Now, the next big hard truth that I feel every independent artist should know before dealing with these companies is the fact that real streams can still be bad promotion. All right. As I said, you have botted, but you have some people that can actually get you real streams. Now, you're probably asking yourself, how can these companies get you real streams? Well, what if they create the playlist themselves? What if they create a playlist themselves? They're letting you know that they're pitching it to a curator, but they actually created the playlist themselves. They put your music on the playlist and they just have your song looping over and over and just playing over and over and over and over. Those are real streams. Your song is really getting played, right? But what don't you get with that method? You don't get any real listeners, you don't get any growth in a fan base because nobody's actually listening to your song. The songs aren't getting added to any other playlists, any libraries of Spotify accounts. Nobody is subscribing to your Spotify or following your Spotify page. Nobody's then following your Instagram or your Facebook and actually finding more about you. Nobody's going to your YouTube to see if these songs actually have music videos because no real people are actually engaging with your music. So yes, there are real streams because there are actually real plays, but you're not gonna actually get any real growth from it, which means that it's theoretically, or not even theoretically, it's realistically irrelevant. All you're doing is getting streams, but you're never going to grow your fan base. You're never going to truly grow your Spotify account with fake streams, but also with these companies. All right. And again, I want to reiterate again that I've tried all of them, all the big ones, all the high price ones and all the low price ones. And this is the conclusion that I have come up with from all of them, not some of them, all of them. All right. Now, the last thing that I want to mention, and the last hard truth that I want to mention about these companies is that the numbers ultimately, and whether they're fake numbers or real numbers, whatever the case may be, these numbers ultimately just create the illusion of growth. They do not give you real growth. It's just an illusion. Even the ones who are streaming it themselves and they look like real streams, it creates an illusion because, like I said, you're not getting real listeners. You're not getting real people engaging with your music. And what will happen is that you will pay these companies, right? You will see your Spotify listeners go up. The moment you stop paying these companies, it'll go right back down. So, just think of it from a logical perspective. If you had 3,000 people listening to your music on Spotify, then it jumps up to 10,000 people. Whether you're using the service or not moving forward, you should still have 10,000 listeners if they're real listeners who are really enjoying your music. But what happens is as soon as you cancel the service, you go right back down to where you started, which means it just creates an illusion of growth. And it's not actually authentic growth, it's fake growth. Therefore, you have to keep spending money on them to keep the facade or keep the illusion alive. which ultimately just doesn't benefit you in any way, because it doesn't matter what that Spotify number is. You're not really growing a true legitimate fan base. And I have seen people who have decided to create tours and do all of these extra things because they really thought they had a fan base, but they really didn't. It was fake people all along, right? So you definitely don't want to deal with these companies, because ultimately it's not going to put you in a position to win. It's not going to grow your fan base, and you're basically just a hamster on a wheel paying these companies for no reason. Now, that doesn't mean that just because I'm giving you guys this hard truth, I'm sure in some of you guys' minds is well, what is the best way to promote my Spotify then? How can I grow it a legitimate way, or a more authentic and organic way? Well, I have a couple of tips, a couple of pointers that I will leave with you guys, because I don't want this just to be about don't use this. I want to actually give you guys some solutions that you could try out yourself, some solutions that I have found out that have really worked. The first thing is the curators. You can research the curators yourself, right? So for me, I do Christian hip hop music, right? So all I have to do is go on Spotify, search different Christian hip hop or Christian rap playlists, click on the playlist, and look at the info from the details of the playlist. A lot of times these playlists already have the information of the curator on the playlist itself. Sometimes they put their IG info on there. Sometimes they put their email on there. A lot of times these curators are willing to listen to new music. They actually give you a way to submit to them, right? They might have a submission link that you actually submit your music to them so they can listen to it as far as consideration. You can actually get in contact with these curators yourself, rather than relying on these companies to do that for you. And the funny part about it is, going back to my experiences with these companies, I do Christian hip hop. I was never placed on a Christian hip hop playlist. That alone told me that this wasn't real, because that's the music that I have. Wouldn't you pitch my music to playlists that actually have music that's similar to my music? But no, I was placed on all of this other random stuff that's just not part of my genre, right? But when I go out and research these curators, when I go out and find these playlists that match my genre, and I get in contact with them and they get my music on their playlist, I'm getting real organic listens, plays, saves, and all of that stuff. And the best part about it, guys, is when you contact that curator and you build a relationship with that curator, and that curator actually becomes a fan of your music, you no longer have to pitch to them. Every time you drop a new song, they're going to look into it the same way they look into it with every other artist that they like to look into for their playlists, right? You end up having your music on their playlist for months, years, maybe even forever if they really like the song. That's the benefit of dealing with a real curator, a real person. You get ongoing streams for the rest of your life because you did it the real way. Of course, the numbers may not come as fast. Of course, you may not, you may have issues, as far as how much you can grow it, right? But it's authentic, it's real, and it's long lasting. So definitely contact curators yourself. That's the first thing that I recommend to everybody who wants to grow their Spotify online, or their Spotify presence, grow their Spotify account, essentially, right? The next thing that I will tell you guys is use the proven methods, the old school methods, so to speak. That stuff still works. Performing at shows still helps grow your fan base, right? Going out there in the streets, promoting your music, talking to people about your music, getting people to follow your Spotify profile in real time, in real life, sending people DMs to do it. This is all real things that still work. Use these methods. Do not rely on these companies. Do it yourself. Yes, it'll be a lot slower to grow it, but it will be more authentic and it will be more real, and that's what you want anyway, right? Get on radio, run ads, right? Do those things that artists have been doing for decades, for hundreds of years, because those methods, again, still work, right? They all still work. Getting on the street corner as people passing by, play your music. Those who like it will stop. Share your info with them. Get them to physically follow your Spotify account. All of these things still work, and use them, right? Now, if you want to go the online approach, I have 2 proven methods that I know will actually work outside of these companies. These are the only 2 methods that I recommend. The first method is actually run Spotify ads through Spotify. Spotify will let you run ad campaigns on Spotify by paying them directly. That means no middleman, and you know they're going to be legitimate because Spotify is the one who's pushing it, right? Of course, you got to know your age demographics, you got to know your genre, you got to know what country you want to promote it to, and all of those different things. But you can actually run ads through Spotify in Spotify, right? It is the most expensive method to actually run ads or promote your music, but it also is secure, proven, and right. There's no mistakes in it. You're not going to get fake stuff because it's literally Spotify that is running the ads on Spotify. It's a brilliant thing. Definitely use that one. And the other thing is, if you want to do something less cost rather than doing it through Spotify directly, is run social media ads, specifically Facebook and IG, right? I say them together because they're owned by the same company, right? So what you essentially want to do is you want to create awesome content. And when I mean awesome content, really good content that people will actually engage with, right? Obviously, your music has to be great too. That's without saying, right? You want to make sure you have quality music. It sounds good and all of those things. You make sure your music is fire, right? That's start with. But as long as your music is good and you're creating great content, you want to run IG ad campaigns or Facebook ad campaigns where as soon as they click on that learn more link or listen now link, it'll immediately direct them to your Spotify profile, or it'll immediately add your song to their Spotify library. These things are legitimate. These things actually work. When you do a reel with your song, make sure your song is connected to it so they could click on the song from the reel and actually save that song onto their Spotify. All of these things actually work. These are real access from you to your fan base. So if you're doing online, use Spotify or use social media, but stay away from these companies altogether. They're not worth it. Again, I tried out all of them. I've been doing this research for a couple of years now, and this is ultimately the hard truth that I got from dealing with all of them. All right. Doesn't mean that they're fake. Doesn't mean that they're not legitimate. Doesn't mean that some of them can't actually get you real streams. But ultimately, those real streams will never factor to real growth as an artist. All right. And if nothing that I said, if all of this that I've already talked about doesn't convince you to stay away from these companies, I know this last part will. All I ask you guys to do when it's all said and done is use simple math. Simple math. If you go to a company, that company is offering you 3,000 to 5,000 streams for $100, right? Do the math. 5,000 streams will only give you about $30 in streaming royalties, which means you are paying them $100 to get $30 back in streams. We already know you're not going to get real followers, real listeners. You're not going to get any of that real stuff. So there's no growth besides the income that you're getting from the streams. So you're giving them 100 and you're getting $30 back, which means that you're negging $70 every month you deal with these companies. If nothing else convinces you to not use them, let the simple math convince you. It's not sustainable and it makes no sense to give a company $100 only to get $30 worth of value back, right? If you were giving them $100 and you were making $150 in streaming, that makes sense. You profit 50%, but you're negging $70 every time you do it. That makes no sense. The simple math alone should steer you away from these companies, because that's what the simple math is when it comes to the streaming, even for the ones that are just looping your song back and forth. All right. But ultimately, that's all I got, guys. I didn't want to make this video too long, but there was a lot to discuss. There was a lot to tell you about. All right. Before I let you guys go, I definitely want to leave Let you guys know about my book here, The 13 Steps to Jumpstart Your Music Business. This is for those of you who simply tired of your 9-to-5 job and want to do music full time. I've been doing music full time for years now. And the big reason I was able to do that is because I followed the steps in these books, right? This is the foundational pieces that I feel like every independent artist needs to know. All right. I have it in ebook form for those of you who want to download it and read it right away. And I also have it in paperback form as well for those of you who actually want a physical copy. So you can grab that. The link is in the bio. And also, guys, leave comments. Leave comments in this video. Let me know your experience with any of the companies, right? I want to build this video and build this community and build a conversation around this topic. If you want to name drop the companies you use that didn't work, or name drop the ones that might have worked, right? If you found something that worked, put it in the comment section. I'll pin it to the top so that everybody else will know. But as far as the research I've done, I wasn't able to find it, but you might have. So if you did, put it in the comment section. Let me know about your bad experiences. Let me know about your good experiences. Let me know what companies you try. Put it out there so we all can be aware together, all right? I'm challenging you guys to do that. Make sure you guys do that because I feel like this is a very, very important topic for all independent artists out there, all right? But that's pretty much it, guys. That's the hard truths of dealing with Spotify promotion campaigns, and I'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Giants in my path, but my sling still swinging. Prayers like a choir, you can hear the angels singing. Armor of God, ain't a single piece missing. Romans 8:31, who against me, they sinking. Enemies plot, but the plans unravel. Scriptures in my holster, that's the only way I travel. Devil want to smoke, but I'm up, no gravel. If I'm going through a valley, no shadow, can't battle. Tell the storm peace, and the waves obey. Faith ain't a trend, it's the roots where I stay. Christ built different, every sin.